stream. And today I have a wonderful guest. Her name is Tawni Acosta. Let's not take much time. Let's just go ahead and bring Tawni in, and she'll introduce herself. Tawni, hi. I'm so happy you came on my channel today to get your real chart done today, not
Yeah.
the one that we thought we had before.
Yes. Thank you for having me on. It's really nice to be here. And I'll just give just a quick intro. I'll provide this later, but yes, I'm a coach. I'm a hypnotherapist. I do somatic healing. So I do a whole bunch of different modes of service, but the real idea is to get integration of a complete paradigm shift and breakthrough.
It's wonderful. I'm sure that your services are really helpful for individuals that are having problems. That's wonderful that you're doing that. I'm so happy for you. And so I really like that. So, Tawni, yes, you are a Virgo.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Now we know
And
that for sure.
yeah,
Yes.
her sun is in Virgo and it's in the 10th house. So you still have a really important 10th house. Your rising sign is Scorpio. And it looks like you've got Pluto in the first house, and Scorpio is your ascendant. So your ruling planet is going to be Mars and Pluto. It traditionally it's been Mars, but then when they discovered they put Pluto in there, Scorpio is also co-ruled by Pluto. So looking at that, I look up to Pluto, and Pluto is in Virgo. Um, and your Venus is in Leo at 29 degrees. So you have a critical degree Virgo, which is important. There's another word I always was taught. It was a critical degree, meaning it's the time for that to really express itself. So your Venus is ready to express itself in the most dramatic way that possible. And it's all set up by Pluto being at the top and those two planets being close together. So they're working together. And Pluto is the lord of the underworld. He's the phoenix rising from the ashes.
Okay.
Okay. And then you've got this critical Venus right there with it.
So
So
what does the
what I
critical
would say
Venus
is
mean?
you were bound to have some kind of an epiphany, it's something that just you had to do. And Venus being at the 29th degree, Venus is all things, it's a feminine sign. And it's love and caring, your values, it's good things, luxury. It's fuzzy, warm things. It's what you think of when you think of Venus and hearts, It's just when you think of that, that's what Venus represents. And it is ruled by Taurus is ruled by Venus, and so is Libra. So it's got a dual sign. But so yours is in Leo, and so it's a very proud sign. It's a very proud Venus. It kind of I don't know. Leos tend to be one of two ways. Either they like the stage or they like the stage. They like to be on the stage. And sometimes they're a little bit, they say they don't like the stage, but when they get on the stage, they're great. They're really wonderful. Yeah. I have a daughter that's a Leo. My brother's a Leo as well. And he'll tell you he doesn't want to be on the stage, but he does. So anyway, looking at that with Jupiter in your first house, in Scorpio. And I looked to here the last time you had just one planet that was you had like a bowl of planets with a handle or a bucket chart, and you still sort of do. And it's still the moon that is your handle. So this means that any decisions that you make, anything that happens before, when you're evaluating what you're going to do, the decisions you're going to make, when you're thinking about, you're having some feelings and you want to try to understand them, you run them right through your moon. And your moon now, because we have the right chart, your moon is in Taurus. And yes, and that's when the moon is in Taurus, that's the moon sign of exaltation. It's exalted. The moon is exalted in Taurus. And so what a great thing, I mean, if you had to have a planet to run everything by, right? You got to make a decision, you got to check in with your moon, right? You don't notice that you're doing it, but you do. You check in with your moon, and it's being in this exalted Taurus. Taurus is a Venus ruled sign. And the moon being in Taurus and it being exalted there, what you're going to do is you're going to, everything that you do, you run by your values, your own personal values. You put it up there and you check in. Is this within my value system?
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And then you can go back, things are always going around. You can go back and you can say, well, I have my exalted moon in Taurus, and it is trining Pluto and Venus in my 10th house. And guess what? This moon that you have is in your 6th house. Your 6th house is your everyday activities. It's your health. It's the health house. And so your everyday activities, the people that you meet every day or that you're doing things with every day, has everything to do with that. Plus it has things like, sometimes you'll find people with a Neptune in the 6th house and they're allergic to all sorts of pharmaceutical drugs. They can't hardly take anything. That's me. And so that's what I have to deal with. But for you, you're just going to send everything right through that moon, and the moon is going to help direct you. And it's going to be a good thing, because it's just what a wonderful thing. I saw that and I thought, oh my gosh, it's wonderful. This is so much better of a chart than the last one that we did.
The last mistake. Yes. Well, admittedly, on my part, I had a typo on, I think it was the year.
It was the day.
Oh, the day.
The year was the same. Otherwise, but because we still, and the time was right. And so we still got Pluto close to the top of your chart at your midheaven. But the faster moving planets had already had a chance to move on.
Okay.
And, yeah.
So I'm curious, Joyce, can I ask a question about it?
Sure, yes.
I mean,
yes,
I am not an this is not my sweet spot as far as understanding
You haven't
it.
been spending the last 40 some years doing this, right?
No, not at all. Well, I've been doing other things, but anyway, so like what are the two most common questions people ask? They ask about business, money, and love.
Right.
And so I'll ask about two of those, like business and love.
Business and love. Okay. Should we do business first? Get the mundane stuff out of the.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So for business, you have Saturn in your 2nd house. And it's in Sagittarius. So you like to do lofty things. You're kind of an adventurer when it comes to making money. And you're not afraid to take a chance. But Saturn's there, so he says, now you can take a chance, but be careful. And make sure you check everything, and make sure you've got your daily, your assets and your, everything all lined up, and you know what you're doing before you go off and do this exciting, unusual thing to make money. And it's trining. Guess what? It's trining, which a trine is a really easy energy. It's good. It's a good aspect. And that Saturn is trining your Pluto and your Venus in your 10th house. So I have no question. You're set up for success, as long as You're set up for success.
As long as I check in.
As long as you check in with that moon and make sure that everything that you're doing uh, passes your value inspection.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Good
Yeah.
advice.
Now, as for love, everybody wants to know about love. Well,
Right.
you need to be in love with your profession first off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not
You
the
need
first
to
time I've heard that. Yes.
love what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and everything should turn out right as far as how you make your money, if it's passing the values test, if it's going to help you make, have beautiful things and in your everyday life and beautiful friendships and
Mm-hmm.
wonderful things that you want to have happen in your
Yeah.
life.
Well, I think it's an interesting point because I'm definitely in my second profession.
Hmm.
And because of a second profession, there's been so many challenges, more personal things about myself that I've had to work on. And so, falling in love with that profession has really entailed kind of clearing up some of that stuff that was blocking me,
Oh,
if
that's
that
wonderful.
makes.
That makes a lot of sense. That's wonderful.
Hmm.
Well, I have Gemini rising, which I was told when I first started astrology back in 1977. I was told by my teacher, "Oh, you've got a double sign. This means that you're going to have two lives in one." And for a large part of my life, I was a synchronized swimming coach, a national judge, an international judge for the U.S. I went all the way. I did everything. I had people on national team. I was into it. That's what I did. I also managed pools and did other things that I needed to do to make money because you don't make a lot of money being a swim coach. Um, but I was able to do a lot of things that I always wanted to do. I was able to travel. I was an international judge. They sent me all sorts of places, and I enjoyed that. So I had a fun time. And
Yeah.
then about 2000, things started to change.
Well,
Yeah,
yes.
my husband passed away. I had to all of a sudden take care of my 15-year-old daughter. I had a lot of things to think about, and I decided to move 3,000 miles away. It was one of those things. I did that so that I could see, so I could manage my life. I was having trouble. It was an emotional thing, very emotional.
Sure. Sure.
So now what am I doing? Well, I went on and I moved to Arizona. Eventually, I went to Pennsylvania, from Washington State to Pennsylvania, then to Arizona, and I started working with kids on the spectrum. And I
Okay.
did that for the next 15 years.
Hmm.
So I started off by working with them in the pool. I managed their therapy pool there, and so I had lots of kids there. So that was and then from there I was really able to. And in that after 2000, I went back and restudied all the things that I'd learned in my classes in the 70s. And I used to check in and do things, but it wasn't it was like a hobby. It's what I did for
Hmm.
fun. And I used to do people's charts. I've done people's charts from all over the world because they'd say, "Oh, you're an astrologer. Will you do my chart?" And I'm like, "Well, I have time," that sort of thing. But now I'm going to focus more on that. So this
Sounds
is my
wonderful.
yes, this is my. It's actually kind of my third thing, but I kind of was doing it while I was working with the kids,
Hmm.
the kids on the spectrum. So anyway,
Yeah.
so I have done two things in one. So anything else? You have another question? I know it.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about this. I'm still thinking about the first point that you made about, loving my profession, and then the other stuff kind of happens. And I think to answer that is I find myself growing into it. And as I grow into it and have that confidence in what I'm doing, which I really feel right now, um, the things that I can do for people is what gives me that confidence. And then to really see the impact and how that can be really transformative for other people. Yeah, oh my gosh, that's right in my value zone. But also for a bigger value zone is that, you know, probably the stage thing, but this, you're talking about that with I forget the
Well, you have
configuration.
Venus, yeah. You have
Yeah,
your midheavens in Leo, and and
yes.
yes, you can be a really good boss, but Leos like to shine.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, I think at this stage of my life, I do like speaking. It does come to me, though I have to work on that. That's a craft. Speaking is a craft, and how to speak to people, how to connect as you speak, how to influence, how to see that my life can affect other people as I speak. Because really, when you speak, it's like having a whole bunch of one-on-one conversations. So if you can speak one-on-one, then you can speak in public.
Well, I've been speaking in public for a long time, but not on the internet with watching myself do it. But
Mm,
yes, as a coach, what do? You're talking all the time to lots of people over the microphone. And same
yes,
thing, yeah. So yeah, same thing when you're in the pool. Yeah, relationships are important, and I can see they're important for you too. Now, looking on, you do have your Sun and Mercury. Mercury is still in your 10th house and it's conjunct your Sun. So you do have a love of speaking. Mercury are your communication style. And you're very deliberate, very, you, I just think that you probably have a very good wit. I still think that.
thank
Um,
you.
because
Time to unleash her. Yeah, go ahead.
you've got Mercury in Virgo, and Virgo and Gemini both have Mercury as their planet. I thought I would tell you that. Yeah, they're both double. They have double ruler. Mercury's the ruler of Virgo and of Gemini. So anyway, yeah, it just comes naturally for you to talk to people.
I think if I check on one of my values, connection is like way at the top of the list.
There you go.
And because of what I do, what I do as a coach, you can, and with NLP or neuro linguistic programming, you can actually reprioritize your values. You don't get rid of them, but you just reprioritize what's at the top. And so what I've done is to work to kind of keep the daily effort in business is now at the top of my value system.
Well, I can tell, and I've been thinking I could probably learn some things from you, Tawni. Yeah.
Well, likewise, I'm learning. I'm definitely learning from you, and I
Well,
do
that's
find
what
it
friends
interesting.
do.
Yeah.
We learn from each other, and
Yes.
I knowing that you're coming from the right place. Everything that you do comes from the right place, Tawni. I can tell. It's just
Oh,
very
thank you.
obvious.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yes. So you've got a lot of things. Your business, your friends, your private life. The 12th house is also important to you. And I'm Tawni. This interesting that you do hypnosis because you
Hmm.
do have Neptune in the 12th house, and it's in Scorpio.
Okay. And what
Now,
does that mean?
you're very intuitive. You're probably psychic and you don't know it, or maybe you do and you're not admitting to
Just
it.
just recently. Well, if I think about hypnosis and the style that I do two different things. There's a whole bunch of styles of hypnosis. One of the main ones I do, which is called conversational hypnosis.
Hmm.
And conversational hypnosis eventually just engages a subconscious mind in a person, in a client, to actually find its own resources. So it's about having a very, very deep rapport with a person
Oh, yes.
and then allowing that rapport to leverage and open them up so that, because our subconscious mind is like a giant quantum computer. So
Hmm.
it thinks in metaphors and abstraction and things like that. So I help people with that and then bring that back into the conscious world.
Wonderful. That's amazing.
So
So,
it's interesting. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, I want to hear what you had to say.
Oh, I think what I have to say is also with respect to being intuitive, as I started to go into these modes of practice, I started to realize that. And then I started to encounter other people in my life who are helping that side of me flourish, because that's a gift, and that's something that helps me with what I do, and it helps with what I could offer to people, because people need that.
Right, and it helps if you have a little bit of intuitiveness so that you can kind of, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I don't know how I know them. I just know them. I just
Yeah.
know it. It's an intuitive thing. Yes. So you're going to have a big life if
Good.
you haven't already.
Good.
And
Mhm.
you've got Jupiter right next to Ceres, who Ceres is the mother goddess. Ceres is the earth. Ceres is, when I think of it, it's like the earth mother. And I always bring up this in my mind, the hippie mom with the Birkenstocks on, and that kind of thing.
Right.
The very earthy mother. And that's in your
Hmm.
first house, and they're conjunct. So you've got Jupiter conjunct that. So that's a good thing. So you'd be very, very, don't want to be overly motherly, but it brings out that
The right amount.
earth goddess, the earth
Mhm.
goddess in you, and magnifies it. Anything that Jupiter touches, it magnifies. So
Oh,
some people, it's the great beneficent. It's the biggest planet, and it's other than the sun, it's the next positive star that's out there. And then would
sure.
come Venus. It would be Earth, Jupiter, and Venus. And
What
I'm
are the
looking here to
things?
see, and yes, and it looks like it's trying your sun. So those two things are trying your sun and Mercury. So you're able to express that in your everyday conversations, in your profession, and also with your friends. Now your North Node, what you came here to do, is in the sign of a Libra. Let me make sure I'm checking. Yes, it's 3 Libra. And so it's right there next to Vesta. And Vesta, of course, is the sign for the Vestal virgins that were in Rome. It was named after them. And of course, as we all know, they weren't really virgins, and they weren't, you know,
Yes.
I don't know what you know about them, but
Right.
they did tend the temple and did a very good job.
Okay.
And next to that is your Mars, all in Libra. So you came here to find balance,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
and you're balancing that Vestal Virgin and also that Mars energy, that male energy. So you're here to balance
Okay.
both of those. Yep. So I guess we've gone through just about every planet. The only one we haven't done is Uranus, and I'm just looking to see what that's looking like. And your Uranus, where are you? Is at 19 Leo. So not you'll be experiencing some oppositions to Pluto in the next years, because Pluto is now just coming, it's now just going into Aquarius. It's at 000 Aquarius, and it'll go back into Capricorn probably one more time before it comes out of Capricorn again and moves straight directly into Aquarius. So I don't see too many issues with that.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Anything besides checking in? Anything else I need to be cautionary about? Or
well, your Chiron is in your third house, and it's directly opposing your midheaven. So there's probably some things that you'll have some hurt. You'll re-experience some past hurts probably that will affect you. But you'll take those, and you'll stream them through your moon in your exalted moon in Taurus, and you'll find an answer. I have confidence that you're going to be able to overcome each of those things and turn those hurts into benefits for others.
to be honest, I think that's something I experienced just recently. And thankfully, for being in the line of work that I do, to help other people, I have to keep working on myself. And
Right.
so I'm in a place where that's what I'm always doing, because if I don't keep growing, then, everything comes to a halt.
Well, that's the truth, that's what we're here for, to grow and learn. We're here in this physical body so that we can experience all these things on earth.
hmm
Mhm.
So
And if
it's,
we stop growing, that's it. You might,
right. It comes to, yes, it breaks,
I guess that's the end. I don't know. But
right.
I'm happy to hear that you were able to use that.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me, and I'm starting to actually feel very confident, and is just the confidence in my business, the confidence at this point of my life, the confidence of what I have to offer. And I think especially towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year, it feels like that's, I don't know the right word, congealing.
Coming
And
together. Yes, it's all coming into that fine balance that you're looking for in everything.
yes.
Yes.
And and so anyway, it's exciting, but also I know like I can be, what's the word? It's like I can be very spontaneous.
Oh
I
yeah.
can also be I can also be stubborn, but sometimes my spontaneity has to be very grounded. So that's
Well,
why I
yes.
like your comments about checking in with me, because when I become unhinged, then it's just like "Ugh, crazy, crazy. You know,
Yeah. Well, but that's a short reading for you, and there's other readings I can do if you ever need my services. I
sure.
do uh, I do solar returns, which is an outlook for the year. I can look at your chart with all the planets that are in their present place in the universe, and look how that's affecting specific parts of your chart. What I did today was just a natal breakdown. What would we call this? A a simple chart overview is what I did for
The
you today.
first kind of the first dive.
Right, the first
hmm
steps.
Okay, sounds
So did
great.
now you have a channel, don't you, Tawni, that I
Yeah,
haven't
yes,
seen it.
yes, I do. I'm not doing lives yet. I'm just putting out daily content, or striving to put out daily content. And right now, what I'm doing is I'm using I'm using art. I'm using music as a way to explain coaching concepts, because music is something that I love. And so I've been comparing some of the art. Like recently, I did a couple of videos where I featured some of the people who are the disciples of the famous jazz musician Miles Davis. And
Ooh,
Miles was in addition to a consummate artist, he was a mentor to many, many, many musicians. And so these musicians like Herbie Hancock or Wayne Shorter or even David Sanborn or so on and so forth, they talk about how Miles was able to influence them even beyond the lessons he taught them in music, went beyond music. They went to life lessons. And so I'm just doing little comments about those and how it may apply to our everyday life, and what's kind of the point of life and the point of coaching that can be illustrated here. So it's kind of fun.
oh, wonderful. What's the name of your channel again?
It's called Empowered Journeys, or it has my name, Tawni Acosta, and the Empowered Journeys is the name of my company.
Well, good luck to you, Tawni, and I hope that things just keep working out for you and you keep discovering more and more about yourself and others and helping others. This is going to help others in their path as well.
Yes.
Thank you for being on.
Oh, it's my pleasure and privilege, and thank you, Joyce.
You're welcome.